Howdy, folks. Welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And I know what today is. It's Higher Minds Monday. I actually got it
Yeah,
right for once.
yeah, and it's 420.
It is 420. That is correct.
It is. Happy 420, y'all. Happy
Now,
Monday. Happy 420.
when officially Earth Day used to fall on 420 every year.
I thought
So,
so. I think
but
you're right.
isn't
Hmm.
it tomorrow now? I think. I
I
think
don't
it's
know, but tomorrow would have been my grandma's 96th birthday.
really.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday, Grandma.
Yes. Happy birthday, Grandma.
96. Lord, I tell you what.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people want to live forever and all that, but I know the way I feel right now, there's no way I want to tackle it at 96.
She was doing really good until her 92nd birthday. Yeah, she was doing I mean, she's always lived on her own. She'd never had any complications, medications, nothing. Just
It's
great.
amazing, like, with my grandmother that recently passed, a year or two ago, it seems recent, but, it's been a while. But, of course, she had the dementia coming in and all that, which, we
Mhm.
saw signs of. But as far as her health, man, it basically went just quick. I mean, I swear, and I'm not saying anything bad, but it
Yeah.
seems like as soon as they put her into a nursing home, boom, she just dropped.
It's funny, my grandma, she was completely perfectly good, and she took a fall, and she broke her back and broke her hip.
So she
And
took that too.
she went into the hospital, and they gave her first flu shot. And man, she came out of the hospital, and the medications they gave her, she started hallucinating.
That was my
And
grandmother.
yeah, she was not right, and my mom took her off all the medications after about 2 weeks, but she was never kind of the same after that. A vaccination and whatever meds they put her on in the hospital, she was hallucinating.
I
Yeah.
know people go both ways with them flu shots, but I'm telling you what, I just do not see myself, and I'm so glad my mom don't get them anymore. And I don't see subjecting myself to any virus I don't have to. They never work anyway. It's never the correct strain. So why am I going to let somebody inject another strain into my body?
Well, I want my immune system to do it on its own. I don't want assistance. I want my body to do it on its own.
Yeah, and I mean, that's putting yourself out of your comfort zone, doing things. That's why, like, I can eat almost anything. I'm not saying that sometimes it don't affect my stomach, but like, I subject myself to things like that, and I'm sure, that probably, I could drink, more water out of the creek and things like that because you subject yourself more to these, viruses and things like that. And
Yeah.
it's all about just
I don't
building
know.
up
I
that
just I think
immunity.
I mean, when I was little, my mom, my brother got the chicken pox. She made me sleep with him. We tried to get the chicken pox. I
I
mean,
mean,
it was like
I tried getting them and I never got them.
that was me. I wouldn't catch him, and I wouldn't catch him. My brother got him, and she made me sleep with him and everything, and I wouldn't catch him. And then my little sister, she finally got him. My mom made me sleep with her, and then finally I got him, and oh
I've
my
yet
gosh,
to
I
ever
got
have them, and it scares me
oh
to death because they say shingles was, whew.
oh I got him so bad. I got him really bad because my body was so resistant to the strain. Like I wouldn't catch them, and they kept trying for me to catch it, and I wouldn't. And boy, when I finally did, it got me good. But like I said, I don't know. And then, I had hepatitis B, bloodborne, and that's a virus, an incurable, they say, disease. And no, I threw off the antibodies for that. So I want my own body to try on its own.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh. I want to have the right for my own body to try on its own because I believe in my own power. I believe in my own system.
As you should.
Yeah, it
Mind
saved me.
over matter.
Yeah, it saved me. I mean, they told me you can't cure hepatitis, and that's true for most people, but I didn't believe that, and I created antibodies in my body. So if I can do that with something that most people can't, I really want to try myself. You know,
Yeah,
I really want to because I think I can.
absolutely.
Yeah.
See, we got quite a few joints so far. I'm gonna spray a little energy spray from Deborah Tucker, Etheric Essentials by Deborah Tucker. You'll make sure to check
Deborah, I'm
her out.
gonna need
Links in
an
the
order
description.
very soon if you hear this, because I need some more oil. Because
Like I said, hit her up. I mean, I guarantee she keeps everybody's formula as far. If you've ever had a chakra oil mixed by her, she does keep it on, in piles.
whatever she made me, I swear it is heavenly. It's literally, it smells like heaven.
Oh, my chakra oil, like I swear, it's and every time I wear it just to wear it out, and every time I wear it and people smell it, they're like, "Oh my God, you smell so good!" It mixes with your body chemistry, like it's made for you.
Oh, it is. It's like I said, I love my recipe. Whatever she made for me and created, it is just amazing.
So y'all go check her out. Like I said, ethericessentials@gmail.com to get in touch with her. Actually, I need to get her back on here. I don't think I have a thing where we've done a video on this channel with her, so I need to have
Oh,
her
we
back just
haven't,
so
I
I can
don't think.
thank her.
Yeah, that would be great to put Deborah on. Yeah, she really, guys, she's a wizard.
Yeah, she's an alchemist.
It is. It's alchemy. Like I said, I've had people make oils for me before. None of them smelled like the one that she sent me. I mean, literally, I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my
And
God.
and I've got it. I've gotten several of them, made for me, and it's the same. I actually got her to tweak it one time
Hmm.
to help some, my root chakra, and it did smell a little bit different after she had to tweak it, but it stayed consistent. The next time I got it, it was the exact same mixture. So
Absolutely. Like I said, it's magical. Whatever she did for me the first time, I was like, oh,
yeah.
oh, the smell, it's heaven. It literally was like I've never smelled anything that smelled to me like what I remembered the heavenly realms to smell like, because I remember being in heavenly realms. I just go with
And
the
just
Lord
to
all
give
the time.
you a little example, folks, when she does these chakra oils, it's not just mixing these oils. She actually plays these certain frequencies when she
It's a
does it. She does
crazy
a whole
trip.
ceremony over it.
Like I said, I've never smelt that smell from anything on this planet before.
Yeah,
And whatever she made for me literally is the smell I have in my banks of heavenly scents.
yep.
And it's what it smelled like to me. And it was just like, how did you
I
do
know.
that?
Well, let's see who we got with us so far. Ooh,
Okay.
let it get far again. Mr. David Berry, what's going on, buddy? Jill Jarrett, how you doing? James Broom, welcome, buddy. Good to see you. I sent Wayne an email, but haven't heard back. Man, Wayne gets I used to think I get a lot of emails. I couldn't even imagine somebody like how many emails Wayne gets back, but he will get back to you, I assure you.
Yeah.
Let's see who else we got. Mandy Moo, welcome back. Welcome back. Who else we got going on? Oh, let's see, a lot of chatter. There's Big Al. How's it going, brother?
Hi, Al.
I have 1 Earth
Hi,
minute
Tina.
left.
Mom.
Dark Truth. Autumn Joy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. There's Mr. Robert V, the man, the myth, the legend. Bruce O'Mala. How you doing? Miss Lyndall Davison. Gotta love her. Darth Samuel Nagayan. Welcome back. Miss Marsha Price. And the Rods of Ra. I'm so excited about these things. And she said also they're the gold magical wands of Horus that they're known as well. So I forget that. Gaza Cab, what's going on? There's Rebecca Galactinoff. And it's so funny how this works out. Like it gets to the end of the month and I kind of start stressing, about Zoom and all that. And I don't like saying nothing. So, but I've cashed in. I've got some T-shirt sales, and I've cashed that in. And here I was starting to stress on it. And Rebecca donated $20 today. So thank you for hearing that distress signal, Rebecca. Thank you so much for the donation.
Yeah.
Elsie, darling, what's going on, darling? Bridget Williams, so good to see you, huh? Jesse McCartney, welcome back. Celia in Favor. Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Pure Love Ascension. Ain't that what we're all here for?
Hi, Pure Love.
What else we got going on? Deborah Trudeau. There's Mama.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, your mama would have been 84 on April 17th. That's correct.
Oh, wow. Mine's April 16th.
Oh, really?
Yep. April 16th is my birthday. And that's funny. Your mama and my grandma was the 21st.
Craziness.
Yeah.
Who else we got? There's That Way. Welcome back. Good to see you.
Hi,
Miss
Darlene.
Delaney, what's going on? I never did get an email from you. I don't know why Delaney has a problem getting emails out and stuff, but if anybody can get this copy of this book to her that I've sent it to, please. They won't let me put it on Facebook for some reason. There's Steve, what's going on? Slightly slanted
Hi,
sleuth.
Steve.
Mr. Rick Yorkin, what's going on, buddy? Pajo. David Castle, what's going on, my man? Oh, Lord. BTW70, there he is. Good to see you. Oh, and then Gaza Cav is going to be joining me at some point. Like I said, it may take me a couple of days to get the rest of this Zoom going, so stay tuned, folks. But I will be having Gaza Cav on. We're going to cover like different weeds and things that you can forage in the forest, things like that, because I've had a lot of interest in emails about that. So,
Absolutely.
let's see, I said BTW7. There's Lost in Space.
Hi, Austin.
Who else we got going on? All right, Crystal MacArthur, just in time. All right. Gang's all here.
Everybody. Yay.
Nothing but love and just in time, 10:10. I like to get started about 10 or 15 in. So,
Yeah.
y'all ready to rock and roll? We got some good ones tonight. And we're starting off good. It's starting off with gratitude, and we all know how strong that is.
One of my favorite energies to work with.
Absolutely. So, putting the glasses on tonight, folks, I ain't going to try to get a headache. So, but you ain't got to look at me anyway.
Gotta read chat and it's moving fast.
Oh, Lordy, Lordy, Lordy. So hopefully we'll get to chapter 38 tonight. We should. It's usually about what we get, but if not, I will change it in the description. Like I said, if anybody does not have a copy of this, that email does work, send me an email at milkywayweekly@gmail.com, and I'd be more than happy to send you a copy. So without further ado, let's get it on.
Right on.
Chapter 34. We should not take anything in our life for granted. If and when we do, it is a good likelihood that this something that is living our life with us will start to remove what we are taking for granted from our life. That is probably one of the reasons why we have so many changes in our life. Often good things seem to come and go. Why should it not? Let me get this started. Okay. If we do not appreciate it, how about if you stopped for no specific reason and said, "Thank you, God," or whatever term you resonate best with, for helping me have an interesting and even more abundant life? We should appreciate everything from the small things a stranger might do for us to our loved ones who do things for us all the time, often without thinking or wanting to be rewarded for it. Showing gratitude is so simple and it's free, but it will have an enormous spiritual value. It creates goodwill. There's a saying that keeps following me around. There are two things that go to the bank. One is money, and the other one is goodwill, and they have equal value at different times. Never forget that one. We can easily and unknowingly block the path for the flow of creative thought energy from the source of all things, universal consciousness. We are all children of God or creations of universal consciousness, the spiritual part of us directly and the physical part indirectly. To the universal consciousness, we are all equal. When we complain about someone else, another race, another ethnic group, by saying they are horrible, dishonest people, we are degrading ourselves. By degrading others, it all falls back on us because they are in our life as a function from our mind manifesting them that way. This is a mind-created universe, and if we believe something that is a part of us or a lesser value or unworthy, our mind has determined we are unworthy of the full gratitude and rewards of the universal God or conscious. Ouch. Yes, I know. Some of these people we're complaining about have done horrible things in the eyes of the physical world. What they have done is part of their and your spiritual growth. What these people may have done was not done by their true self, their soul, but by the ego portion of the mind. The soul essence, the real you, may have wanted to have that experience. Remember, in a spiritual reality, no one dies or gets hurt. It is just like watching a Western movie on your couch at home. You do not go and put on your bulletproof vest in case there would be a stray bullet flying your way. They're only learning experiences. Death only happens in the world of form and only to the physical vehicle. Everything in the physical is a constant rearranging of matter or physical energy. That is birth, creation, growth, maturity, decline, decay, death, termination, and it is a process of everything goes through, including trees, birds, animals, your automobile. Because I used to have one little whatever Cadillac, whatever.
Mhm.
Here's, whoa, excuse me. Here's something we should think about and ponder in meditation. Have you heard the saying, God does not make any junk? I agree. The
Mhm.
universal consciousness is perfect. So then, why does the human body and everything around you decay and die? Is that perfect? The soul does not die, and it is perfect. Your material body and everything in your physical existence or your hologram, which is created by the universal consciousness, is not necessarily perfect. The soul is a spark of life with an individualized perception originating from the universal father or consciousness. Could it be that the ego part of the mind has created our bodies and the hologram or illusion we call our life, our universe, and it is actually not real? The only thing real is our soul, spirit, or our higher self. Would that explain why death seems to occur everywhere? Because it is not a creation of God or the universal consciousness. But what is created by the universal consciousness? The soul lives on forever. Now you have something to think about. We'll read it again and then think about it. We will get back to it. Maybe
Mhm.
this is the reason why it is so difficult for us to stay in touch with the higher consciousness. Could it be that the ego is so protective of its playground, your mind, and it gets in the way? It clogs the path and prevents us from connecting to the universal consciousness, where it has no place and will be abolished. Innocent, seemingly unimportant things get in our way and trip us up. Doing a simple thing like showing gratitude by saying thank you, God, or thank you, Source. When something good happens in your life, you prime the pump by your unconditional love, gratitude, and thankfulness. The universal consciousness reacts to gratitude and unconditional love as an order for more of the good things it just provided. The less you complain, the more gratitude you show, the more unconditional love you have, the more you give, the more you will receive, and the more you will be filled with the higher vibration of love. The feeling of love in you will match the vibration of the universal consciousness because it is the universal consciousness. This opens up the floodgates of the free flow of creative energy from the source of all things. I've also called it the universal storehouse of creative energy. Why is showing gratitude and saying thanks so important? That is when the good stuff starts falling out of trees onto your path again. Be appreciative of everything and everyone every day. Especially tell your mate how much you love and appreciate him or her. Tell them how you feel, like, sweetheart, even though I can be of snot sometimes, I am so lucky that you put up with me. I appreciate you so much and I love you. That will do it. A simple good night, sweetheart, will do it also. Do not do as the old Norwegian fisherman I heard about. He was talking to his friend about women and love, and his friend said he thought that his fisherman should tell his wife he loved her more often. The fisherman said, I told her I loved her once when we got married. If that changes, I'll let her know. The old school Norwegians have not been known to be too affectionate. When you're expressing your unconditional love, you're opening up for the free flow of love also. More love will be flowing into your life. You have padded your spiritual bank account with goodwill. Practice kindness every day towards people, animals, and things in your life. It keeps padding your spiritual bank account, and the path to the universal storehouse of creative energy stays open. Still, never forget that in the shadows, judgments, blames, complaints, and other lower vibrational thoughts and action lurks, and you are not immune to it. One emotional blaming thought or action will slam the floodgates to the universal storehouse of creative energy shut. You will know when it happens. Then you have to reverse what you did, and you do that by thinking lovingly about what you previously may have criticized or condemned. I know it's not easy starting down the path for many of us. Contrary to popular beliefs, it's not time that heals all wounds, it is love. These things have to be dealt with right away. Time just buries it under more and more destructive subconscious mind programs. So, what do? You bring love back into your thoughts, right behind the forgetful, irresponsible thing you may have thought, said, or done by asking forgiveness for what you said or did. You could say something like, cancel, 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 God. That was not me. My ego acted out on its own. I know they who you complained about are one of our creations as I am and worthy of your love. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me for the erroneous thought within me. Thank you. Now you should be back in good graces if you meant it. Then do not think of it anymore. This neutralize it as the conscious and subconscious levels of the mind. The two thoughts, the destructive one and the healing one, will most likely enter long-term memory at the same time and location. The one with love in it is stronger, and it will neutralize and transmute the effect of the other one. The destructive thought will still be recorded in the brain, but it will be empty, devoid of emotion. Therefore, it will be a neutral and harmless shell filled with love because you put the love in it. Guilt is a sure blocker of intelligent creative energy from the universal consciousness. Do not carry guilt around. I met a Christian Jew who was carrying so much guilt, he said it could never be repaid for something some of his ancestors arranged to happen some 1,978 years ago. Even Yeshua himself, who this thing happened to long ago, is supposed to have said, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. Still, this Jewish man I met wanted this guilt so bad it almost defined him. Guilt is so easy to get rid of. All you have to do is forgive yourself. You can say something like, God, in me, I love you. I am sorry for the erroneous thoughts within me that caused whatever this is. That was not my action. The ego acted on its own. I love you. I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm using the approximate language recommended by Joe Vitale in his book, Zero Limits. When you ask for forgiveness, it is best to do it in meditation or quiet contemplation when the mind is slowed down with more alpha brain waves and less interference of unwanted thoughts. Remember, you are your own judge, and you are asking the judge for forgiveness. You show humility, you show grace, you show forgiveness, you show thankfulness, because would it not be obvious that you will forgive yourself because there's nothing outside of you to forgive in the physical? Your portion of the universe that you can see is mind created by you. In the physical, there is always an equalization of energy. If you hang around people of lower vibration all the time, it will bring your vibration down. It would probably help them, but slow down your spiritual growth. You have to evaluate what is more important to you. When we manifest something, we are not only the ones who receive, even if it is not directly beneficial to us. The spark of life receives the experience and increased creative capacity. Other creations in the hologram also receives the learning experience and everything good that comes with it. Remember the saying, there are two things that goes to the bank. One is money and the other is goodwill, and they have equal value at different times. Dwell on this one and read it again. Consider the tremendous spiritual value of the saying. In order to receive, your total mind has to be in a receiving mode. Instead of having our active mind racing all the time, we should relax and slow down our brain waves as much as we can into the alpha range of our brainwave frequency. It is the level of creativity, and it puts the conscious mind in a more receiving mode for the ideas, truth, inspiration, and concepts from the subconscious mind and the universal consciousness. I have said that when we get the information or inspiration to do something, we must do our part to make it happen. Sometimes that may just be to control our thoughts, words, beliefs, and actions so we can maintain the free flow of universal consciousness. Until you have developed a high spiritual perfection and unity within universal consciousness, there are some efforts involved on your part, even in manifestation. We put physical and mental effort behind inspiration. Like we say, God, will you give the nut, but he will not crack it. Once you have started on your journey, you will have spiritual help and guidance because you are never alone. You are always part of the all. So when you get the nut, think of it and treat it as the squirrel in the movie Ice Age 1 or 2. I still have to laugh when I think of those movies because the squirrel held that nut in very high regard. So should you. Here's a thought for you. In a mind created universe, should not what you manifest all depend on what you think? Do not be afraid to think on your own. Have radical thoughts of truth, kindness, manifestations, and love. People often settle for mediocrity because they are afraid to be different. Remember that brother-in-law, the one who may have told you, don't get your hopes up so you'll be disappointed when it doesn't work. So we do nothing. Over the years, I loved to be disappointed, but that meant I was doing something. The more I was doing, the sooner I would succeed. I have failed at more things than most people I know, but because of that, I have also succeeded at more things than people I know. Look at the track record of the brother in law. What has he done? Why settle for mediocrity or poverty when there are no limits to that can be manifested? Even Paul Getty said there is no such thing as a money problem. There are only idea problems. Since you're reading this book in the first place, I know you have a high success in spiritual development potential. By the time you're done reading this book, you will have a hunger for more knowledge, experiences, and success. Do not lose that. Do you know how to satisfy the hunger? Read the book again and take notes and practice. Let me ask you a question. You will answer the question for yourself only. Also think on it and do not answer the question for 24 hours. It is too important, and people do not normally know how to think big enough. Meditate on it and listen to the little voice in the back of your mind, the universal consciousness. The question is, what would you start tomorrow if you knew you could not fail? What would you start tomorrow if you knew you could not fail? When you have decided, build a dream and an intention field around it. Then allow it for the universal consciousness to counsel you and mentally start to create it in the future. Go and visit it often. Fill it with details, peoples, friends, feelings, colors, emotions, and love. Even physically, start to make sketches and drawings of it. Make a journal where you start detailing how you will operate it, run it, who you will work with, detail the economics of it, and so on. Now you start to create it on a higher level of consciousness, and you are drawing it to you. Ask the universal consciousness to bring you the people who can help. The dream is one of the most important mental concepts because it is fueled with emotion and thought energy. It is an attractor in the spiritual language. If you feed it with spiritual emotion and love constantly, you're unstoppable. The universal consciousness or God lives in it with you. There's also a saying, no man is an island. You can do it. You cannot do everything alone, and if you could, it would be no fun. Enlist cooperation and harmony from like-minded people of spiritual capacity, and you will multiply your momentum and capacity as well. Be careful and try not to associate too much or too long with people who create conflict all the time. The strongest physical ally and support you can have is your family, whether they are directly involved or not. See to it that they and everyone involved are in the intention field and are also in the mental manifestation in the future. When you work with and have the counsel of the Universal Father, there are no limitations. The facts don't count. You will succeed if it is for the good of all. Constantly feed your dream and the mental manifestation in the future with the spiritual language of vivid, colorful images, emotion, love, detail, and the completed, finished picture. Teach your parents, spouse, children, partners, and others involved to feed the dream also. Make sure you discuss the details so you are all trying to manifest the same thing. God will live in it with you as you complete the mental manifestation in the future with a time, a date attached to it for its completion. So the physical existence has something to latch onto as a happy occasion to help create the emotion. So when linear time catches up with it, you just walk into the manifestation with everything and everyone you have envisioned in it. Then it is complete. The two realities have joined. So now what happens? You need a new dream or expand the one you already have. And that's what we're doing here, folks.
That's exactly it. Okay, we had a question, and it was from Pure Love Ascension,
Okay.
and it says, do guides or higher beings look for these qualities as a source of trust between you and them?
I mean, I would have to think yes.
Absolutely. And like, look at how we keep speaking about the universal consciousness. You know, this is what I've learned. It's like we do have specific spirit guides and we do have very specific angelics that are guardians. Um, we literally do have all of these things. It's like then you've got your soul tribe. It's like a group that you always incarnate with in groups. And then you've got your family, your I mean, there, and then you got your ancestors attached through the bloodline. There is so much support. So um, the whole spirit guide thing, don't get hung up on that, in the fact that you want to understand that you have access to much more than just your spirit guides. You have access to anything you can imagine,
Anything.
anything, anything. And it all comes through you. So, you know, you're just basically you're tuning the radio station into different dials and different channels,
You
receiving
could
different.
replace the word universal consciousness with energy, because everybody seems to relate with everything as energy.
Yes, or God, because God is the
Right.
energy that is that fabric. So it's all interchangeable in language, but it's yeah, you're looking at the same concept.
Yep.
Yep, bingo.
Well, good deal. So,
Yeah, gratitude too. This is beautiful information because I literally I've manifested really big things doing that exact process that he spoke of. It's literally how it's done, guys. It's really, it works.
here's a good question. Bridget Williams says, how can you learn to deal with naysayers who unconsciously doubt your dreams, and can their words affect one's outcome? Words have power, there's no doubt, but you're the master of your own thoughts. So you are the one who decides how much it affects your reality.
Absolutely. And the naysayers that are usually shooting you down, it's because they're like, what makes you think you can have that dream? You know, it's they freak out because you're dreaming so big. Don't ever let that detour you. Look at that in your own mind and say, thank you for showing me your fear that you're afraid that you can't manifest.
I
I
look
know
at
I
it as
can.
motivation, because I'd
Yeah,
say easily 20% of the emails I receive are from naysayers and people I've never even heard of, emails that are just weird, but people, pretty much trying to slow my growth. But to me, it just, it motivates me. I mean, that lets me know that I'm on the right track.
absolutely. Because every time you trigger somebody enough to where they actually email you and do that kind of stuff, that means that you stirred something up inside of them. And I think that that's part of what happens doing this kind of work. And I think that's part
I
of
will
growth.
say I respect them at least emailing me. Like these people that
Absolutely.
just go and put a thumbs down. If you're going to put thumbs down, put a reason why in the comment.
Right,
I mean,
right.
have some balls.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's like you always get the one mysterious thumbs down.
Yeah.
Or,
And
yeah,
I mean, that's just some miserable person going from streams to streams, the only way I can look at it. I mean, if you
exactly.
got to take the time to go in and thumbs down a video, like to
Right.
me, I'll just turn the video off. I'm not gonna. To be honest, it helps getting the thumbs down. That's a view. I mean, and it goes towards your analytics, so I'll take it if everybody.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. And you can't make everybody happy because not everybody's looking at the world with the same perception. So it's okay. It's totally all right.
all right. So I don't think I saw any more than that. Did you? That was a
Yep.
long chapter, Lord. That was a 18-minute chapter.
It was. I was like, you told me to wait for questions. Like, oh shoot, this is gonna be long.
Yeah, one not to
Oh,
start
it's
that
okay.
one, right?
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking for more questions too. I think that we're okay, but I'll keep looking as we go because I tried to stop it so I could hold it.
All right, cool. Well, hopefully this one shouldn't be as long. Except
Right. Well,
I
yeah,
guess I should
keep
go through
on
and.
cruising along.
All right, well, here we go. Let's see and make sure. Okay, chapter 35. There is much evidence throughout history that when your mind is spiritually right, everything works for you. Do you remember when Moses was introduced to I am that I am on the mountain? There's a historic translation error here. It should have been I am all there is. From that day on, Moses knew life was not a physical experience, but spiritual in all aspects. He was opened up to the universal consciousness, and from that day on, he mastered every situation he had to deal with. I never thought about it that way. He just followed instructions, and yes, it can be that simple. Creation and manifestations in history were mostly spoken of as miracles because people of that day did not understand universal consciousness. spiritual science, or who or what we really are. Not to this day have people discovered and understood that they themselves have access to the same abilities and knowledge as Moses had, because we all have access to universal consciousness.
Bingo.
Yep, just as Jesus.
Bingo. I was going to say, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what he told me 1,000 times, 1,000 ways.
We can do the things he did and greater.
For sure. And he would so love to see that.
Yep. As for Moses, when he submerged himself in the universal Father's consciousness, everything he needed was provided. The promise of freedom, a new country, food, water was all his for the taking. And as I said before, some of it just fell out of the trees on his path. All of this is available to you. So why does it work this way? Well, we are not just what you see. We are part of the all. The universal Father, the God, universal consciousness, is the one appearing as many and the one with many names. The moment you realize the oneness of you and the universal Father and believe it in your heart and mind, the infinity is flowing to the surface through you. From that day, you will have the conscious awareness of the universal consciousness and will start to get a front seat view of what is behind the curtain. We can always ask, but the universal consciousness will give you only what is good for you. Joe Vitale has a good example in his book, Zero Limits. He says, you decide what you want a front row parking place. You intended it, but divinity gives you a parking place a mile away. Why? Because you need to walk more. Let go. You may choose, but you do not decide. We exist as consciousness with some physical and mental ego created expressions of this one consciousness. These physical expressions are far most people perceive to be controlled by the physical conscious brain. Most people think the brain and the mind are the same thing. That is far from the truth. Parts of your mind are non-local, outside of your physical body, in the aura, in the soul, and the universal consciousness. And of course, all of that we see around us, we perceive as so complicated, so brilliant, so real. It's just an illusionary and holographic expression of the universal Father's consciousness, created for the soul's education, learning, growth, and play. For all that to happen, the souls are given capability of an unlimited manifestation. Your physical body is its hands and feet in the physical world, so it can manifest, learn, and play within the physical existence. The illusion of something real in the physical existence is mostly created by the ego in your subconscious mind. This works perfectly if you do not clog up the path for the flow of energy from the spiritual to the physical reality, which we usually do. In this new world of spiritual consciousness, you will learn that there is just you and the universal consciousness with its many expressions as one. You will reach a place where you can feel the oneness and the flow is automatic. This is called the awakening, to be followed by illumination. But this requires some practice and patience on your part. Many will succeed at this and open up to the free flow of all knowledge from the universal consciousness, but you will not hear them on the radio or TV advertising it. They silently go about their life, create happiness and abundance for themselves, their family, community, and surroundings, and join the community of higher conscious thinkers. That's us, folks. After you are becoming more spiritual and obtaining a better connection to the universal consciousness, worldly things will become less important to you. The worldly things will not go away. In fact, you will most likely have more things, but they will be more fun and productive because it is managed in a more spiritual way. You will have more happiness and gratitude since you are manifesting benefits of a higher vibration for more people. Your existence will become more and more harmonious between the physical, mental, and spiritual existences. You will find it much more interesting to explore the spiritual realities now open to you than the physical existence. Good things will just show up on your doorstep, or as the saying goes, just fall out of the trees onto your path without planning for it. Many have reached great heights of wealth, fame, recognition, and political power without spiritual considerations, but often they are not permanent, nor do they give lasting happiness and gratitude for everyone involved. Through conscious spiritual unity with the universal consciousness, all the things you would desire are a byproduct of meditation, higher consciousness thinking, and intended manifestation. What you receive is freely given by the intelligence behind it all. I used to say a man only needs two things in his life to be happy. That is, number one, someone to love him or for him to love. Number two, work to fulfill a dream. That will work in entirely physical existence only. Now I have to add a third concept. Number three, personal experience of spiritual unity with the universal consciousness. Those who open up to it believe, understand, and become part of the active flow of universal consciousness need not have any concern for their physical welfare. Everything is provided. They will listen to the universal consciousness when it speaks to them and take the advice provided so they can tap into the golden river of all providing life. If you are betrayed, cheated, or lose out somehow, it is because you did not listen to the little voice, the warning, counseling from the universal consciousness. Somewhere in your mental fabric, there are qualities or repeating thoughts which allowed for this to happen. Your scheduled appointment was met. You missed your opportunity to cancel, alter, or create around the appointment you have agreed to have. Because of the quality of our mental and spiritual relationship, or lack thereof, we created a block of energy vibration which drew the loss to us. How many times have you heard yourself say, I had a bad feeling about this, but I did it anyway, and now look where am I? This was the little voice in your head, and you did not listen. Right. Thinking may not necessarily stop things from happening to us, but if we are consciously aware of our unlimited connection to the universal consciousness, we can know when things are right, both spiritually and mentally. This, of course, is just two opposite sides of the same coin, just different frequencies. When negative things do happen, we can find the opportunity in it and turn it into something good for ourselves and others. When undesirable things happen to you, things think back on what you may have done physically and mentally that may have caused it. It would be by thought, belief, or action in disharmony with the universal consciousness and universal law. Define the undesirable thing in your mind so you understand it. Then ask yourself, why is this in my life? What am I supposed to do with it? How can I turn this into a benefit for someone or something? What am I supposed to learn from it? Then hand it over to the universal consciousness by going into meditation and saying something like, I ask the universal consciousness in me to give me the guidance I need to have this issue or whatever it is solved to everyone's satisfaction. It is done, so be it. There is another wild card you could be dealing with. You may have agreed to have this undesirable thing appear in your physical existence before you took on this physical body. So the soul could be able to have the experience. To say it very crudely, your illusionary body is not that important. The soul is. You're just the vehicle for the soul to get around, do things, and have experience. I know it does not feel that way. You should know by now that God did not do it to you without your knowledge or agreement. He is not mad at you. These undesirable things often turn into positive life learning experiences because these experiences of the universal consciousness are entering the physical expression through you. We may also temporarily lose our way while the conscious mind may be restricting the flow of good from the universal consciousness. We may have too much fun playing back in the illusion. We will always find our way back, even though it may take a while. Everything is temporary except the soul. Everything is a mind created illusion except the soul. We will eventually find our way and return home to the great sea of light. That is our destiny. Our subconscious and conscious actions and decisions, even from before you were born and took on this physical body as a tool and transportation vehicle for the soul, are what controls the outward expressions and the conditions of your life. Sometimes it feels difficult because the conscious mind does not process and evaluate spiritual truth. It can only manage and deliver its opinion to conscious understanding. Truth can only be understood spiritually. It's always constant. Facts are expressed in all the physical universe, and it is not constant. It will vary with time, place, and conditions, and the whim of the mind of the person who decides what the facts are. These undesirable things and experiences we are so worried about may not be all bad. The universal consciousness is an active force for good. Sometimes this force for good may have a negative perceived physical expression. We may have negative physical experiences so we can receive positive or physical, mental, or spiritual life lessons. But your universal consciousness and its force for good will remove the negative experience when it has served its purpose, and there is no longer any need for it. Good will convert, absorb, transmute, and ultimately remove negative when they are no longer needed. I had a problem understanding that also at first. Here is an earthly example for you. Vibrations work the same way pretty much anything where in creation, anywhere in creation. Let us say you are on the water, traveling about 5 miles an hour in a small boat. You are creating a few small expanding ripples behind the boat. You are slowly crossing in front of a 100,000 metric ton ocean going supertanker. The expanding ripples behind the supertanker are much bigger and stronger than what you are creating with your little boat. What do you think will happen to your ripples when the supertanker crosses behind you? You're right. The ripples or waves from the supertanker will absorb the ripples from your boat. In addition to the stronger waves with us, there is an intelligence which decides there is no longer any purpose for the smaller waves. At that time, the supertanker, or God, is moved into and absorbed the small ripples. But again, the effects of the spiritual supertanker are mind directed. Your mind. You have to ask, you have to intend. And here's the comparison to my mother's saying again. Beggars may not get much, but the ones who never ask will get nothing. Just ask and intend.
Wow.
Yeah. How long is this next one? Any questions so far on that one?
No, I didn't see any.
Oh, that's only a couple of pages long, so I'll read it too. My throat's starting to get a little sore and dry.
It's so beautiful. That's like the ripples and the waves of frequency and energy. The Lord always showed me that when I was little. He says like one positive focused thought vibration, because he would call it thought vibration all the time to me. And I didn't understand that when I was little, but now I understand it. So he'd say the power of one positive thought vibration cancels out like 100 negative thought vibrations.
Yep.
I was like, wow, it's that much stronger. And he would literally show me that the water and the waves and the ripples and how the bigger ones cancel out the smaller ones through that frequency of vibration in the water. And he was showing it to me in the water, which is profound.
And if you think about it by this aspect, the they always said the 2%, and they've kept control for this long. So if they were able to do the negativity with 2%, then we should definitely be able to kill that with the 1% of love.
Oh, but our numbers are so exponential over them. If even a small portion of us got on board and started to focus love and gratitude into the water, we really might see the entire world change in front of us, because literally, it's all based on vibration and
I
and
think
what
we're
we
seeing the world change
we are, and the
before.
Schumann resonance and all this stuff, Brian. It's like it's totally evident right now. We're doing something crazy, beautiful, and big.
It was funny. I don't know if you remember, but I always said, I was like, man, 2020, I was like, we've seen these awakenings happen in 2018, 2015, 2001, 2000, but I had a feeling like major mass like numbers in 2020, and you're seeing it. You're
Yeah,
seeing
it
it.
is. And it's, 2020 always has meant perfect vision. And it's
2020
funny.
vision.
I think this is the apocalypse, which means the great revealing. I totally think this is exactly where we're at.
I agree.
And it's
All right,
beautiful.
well, let's see if we can get 36 out here. Like I said, I'm getting a little tickle in
All
my
right.
throat. I know it's only a couple of pages here. So, have you heard the saying, we can be our own worst enemy? That is so true. If our minds are not in harmony, things can go wrong. But then again, how do we know what is wrong? Maybe the wrong thing was spiritually intended to gain a positive life lesson. What if someone gets cancer? He lives well, eats right, and exercises. Could it be that it was arranged by himself to have this experience? Maybe. We
Mhm.
still should help if we can. We will be guided. Watch out what you feed your conscious mind, because the conscious mind feeds the subconscious mind. This involves everything you receive through the five senses, not only thought. Much of your subconscious mind is still physical, especially long-term memory. Our conscious mind is often what shuts the door to the flow of energy, knowledge, and creative power from the universal consciousness. We must discipline our conscious mind so we can keep the door open, all the way up to the surface, to the conscious understanding. We do that by directing it in meditation and exercising the connection often. Meditate, listen to the little voice, visualize your dream, ask questions, and listen. When the conscious mind has stepped out of the way and the door is open, you have access to all the universal knowledge and creative resources. This is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. You will then get the full understanding of your infinity and unity with the universal consciousness of the universal Father, God. Start this out by going within in meditation and tell yourself, my mind is still. Say this a few times so the mind starts blanking out for you. I try to focus on my breathing. That's what helps me clear my mind. Say this a few times so the mind starts blanking out for you. Then wait and ask a question. I would say something like, I ask of the universal consciousness in me to give me wisdom. Guide me to the answers I need. How can this be solved to everyone's satisfaction? Then be still and wait. The answer could show up in 5 seconds, or it could take 3 days. It could show up when you least expect it or while you're in the shower. It can come to you in the form of a brilliant revelation, quiet thought, or an urge to call your friend John and ask him something. Whatever, however it comes to you, you must follow up on it. Remember the guy on the roof in the flood? You have to work with it a little bit. Here's another thing you can put into your requests or statements in meditation. I have full conscious understanding of all the universal consciousness flowing through me. I know all things. I use this when, after a while, the subconscious mind starts believing you. Do your part and you can crack the nut. Cool.
Wow. Wow. That is profound truth.
And that one's too long to keep going. So that's where we're going to stop.
With
So,
some practice, and it was talking about it's like a muscle, and if you don't use it, it atrophies. I just said that same thing in my last video about, the Lord always told me like that we lose our spiritual abilities as we get older because everybody tells us, oh, you can't see ghosts. Oh, there's no such things in fairies. So that we let our doubt creep in, and through that doubt, we were like, oh, okay, I'm not supposed to see that. So then we start to shut down and anchor more into the physical world and lose our connection to our spiritual self. And it's totally programmed into us through society, but it's so true. It's like a muscle, and the more you use it, the more you start to see.
I mean, that's like what, with anything in meditation. And the more you use it and practice it, the more confidence you get, like I said, in yourself and your abilities, and the more you want to push yourself.
Yes, thank you, Johan. I love my books too. They're some of my greatest treasures. She said
Yeah,
she liked my books. I was like, thank you.
I haven't started on your new one yet. Like I said, I'm kind of behind on everything, but it does seem interesting, especially like I said, the parallels. So
That's it. It's kind of so weird. It's so synchronistic. It's like yeah, because the ascended masters, like, they teach a lot of this stuff, this higher consciousness. This is what they teach.
yeah.
And they teach it in stories and parables, and kind of like Jesus did. It's just really neat, and it's just powerful wisdom. And they literally give you the keys to manifest, and they literally tell you how to produce alchemy. And that's profound, because that's what we're doing all the time. In actuality, it's just like manifesting. We're manifesting everything in our reality, but most of us aren't even consciously aware of it, because we don't realize our subconscious strata is literally creating it. And like they were talking about how the mind is not local to your brain. Your brain and your mind are not the same things. And that is a beautiful concept. I love that. It's true.
Like I said, it's an exciting time to be alive.
It is, and knowing that we're our mental construct is coming from a higher position and it's coming from soul. It's not coming from your body at all. It's I think that is just completely awesome and such confirmation that we're more than our bodies.
Yeah, oh yeah, I got a email from Julianne Payne, and she said
Mm.
that she's wanting to do some of those poem readings, and I know you had some as
Oh,
well. So if
that
there's
would be
anybody
fun.
out there that would like to join us and read some poems or read, something you wrote or read from a passage that you would like to share, email me. And like I said, I'll get this Zoom figured out in the next couple of days. So maybe we can do something this weekend. If I
That
can
would be fun.
get the logistics and everything
Yeah,
ready.
I love Julie's poems, and she's got such amazing energy. She's so awesome.
Yeah, she does. She
She
definitely
really
does.
does. I just love her to death. Uh,
Well, you got anything you want to add before we wrap her up?
no, I just think this is fabulous information. And guys, this is something, anytime you get funked out, literally just lay down and listen to this information and let your
Or
mind
read it.
wander. It's a great tool to get you into a meditative state and into a positive mindset of creation versus then the shit that might be hitting the fan within your own reality. Like I said, right now, it's really important. Fake it till you make it.
And
Keep
you
dreaming
know,
that dream.
I like that saying, but it's something. There ain't no faking. You can do it. You can
Yeah,
make it.
but it's
Just
like,
believe. When you're
fake
reading
it.
this, know in your heart you can
Yeah.
do this.
See, but the fake it to me is like
I
you
know
need
what you're saying, but you
yes,
know what I'm saying. It just,
pretend like it's already there, which is
yep.
you're faking it because it's really not there yet. But you got to really fake it and believe it. Like, I'm going to fake it till I make it. I'm going to believe it's coming. I know it's coming. I'm not going to falter from my vision. And I'm going to keep seeing it and keep seeing it, keep seeing it until it shows up. And it
Yeah.
will.
But if you have people relying on you and things like that, don't fake that.
Oh,
I've just had some bad experience, and that's why it rubs something wrong for me.
oh
Where
yeah.
people
Yeah.
take
No, we got to
advantage
be
of those
authentic.
situations that
Yeah.
I have a serious problem with. Anybody that charges you for extra information, anybody that charges you for these activations, I have a serious issue with that. I don't think this is information that you should charge for. I don't think there's any information you should charge for.
You
Information is free flow of knowledge.
That's what I think, and it's so hard, it's like, because if you wanna be a healer and teach, it's, like, hard because it's like, how do you make a living and not charge? I understand both sides of the
Yeah.
aspect of it, but I totally get what you're saying, that this
No, I'm
information
talking when you're doing services like that, where you're
yeah,
providing a service, there is an energy exchange. There is a money exchange. That is energy. I'm
yeah,
talking about when it's just a free flow of information and people are charging these Patreons and things like that. That chaps my ass. I'm sorry, I can't stand that.
yeah.
This is information everyone should know.
Well, absolutely. I mean, and it's important that people know, because I mean, like I said, people are waking up right now in mass numbers,
Yeah.
and they're doing it in all different ways. Like some of them are getting woke up because of the economic stuff, and they're looking at the government and they're finding out all this dark, ugly stuff they don't like. Other people are looking at it from a more religious way because their religion stuff is getting challenged with all the stuff that's been going on. It's like everything is challenging people in different ways, and people are waking up in all different directions right now. So
So go
good
out
thing.
there, help your fellow man or woman.
Yeah,
That's
and it's a
all.
good thing. But like I said, a lot of people be kind of freaking out right now. I can feel that panic collectively. A lot of people are just like literally going, what just happened to my reality? I've literally heard
Good.
that like 6 times in the past 4 days. Like I literally see people like holding their heads going, what has just happened to my reality? Like they're processing so much information so fast. You know how we've had like years to work through all this crap?
That's what I'm saying. That's why you're seeing a lot of this strife and people literally going crazy and all that. Because
Yeah.
luckily we kind of understand what our body's going through and things like that. If we had
Yes.
no idea and you were going through these things physically and mentally, it would drive you crazy.
Yeah, and they're like going, "What has happened to my reality?" Their reality, when you pop that popcorn, you can't unpop it. This is happening to a ton of people right now. And it's like I said, because of being forced to stay at home. It's
Yeah.
like everybody got so wrapped up in the world, they weren't being still. They weren't being forced to look at their life, their reality, their government, all of these things. And now everything just went all over. So
Well, I
everybody
think this
got to
kind
look
of
at.
blew up in their face a little bit.
I think it had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it had to. You know what's interesting though is, remember I told you that child was speaking about the devolution. Devolution. I'd never heard that word before. I just heard the elites use the same word, that was the plan for us, was the devolution. That is so interesting.
So do you know the terminology, but what does that word mean?
The devolution, I think, had to do with the implementation of different nanotechnology into our bodies, turning us into something different, maybe deceptively, the devolution, like to make us devolved without
And
our
it's all the nanoparticles they sprayed and everything in
something
our
like that. And
food.
then it was about, cosmic stuff too, so there was multiple things going on with that, I'm pretty sure, because that was right after she was talking about diving through the black hole, and we'd have to get through 2 dead ends, but the last one would look like a dead end, but we would get through. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I'm seeing some of this stuff, though, start to come to pass, and it's blowing my mind.
I love it.
Yeah, because that was a long time ago, that was like, what, 11 years ago? I got that information, and I had no idea rainbow colors and new light and the planetary vibration raising to the 6th power level. I didn't know what any of that meant. And now it's like, wow, so much of this makes sense. And for a 9-year-old to be talking like that with that language and devolution, and oh, it was just amazing. So yeah, there's a lot going on right now in
I keep saying it, and we're just getting started.
yeah, and she was talking about that this would all start taking place with the ice melting, and what was like the kickoff of all this crap, climate change. It's just too, you can't make it up. It's just too synchronistic.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, and also I'm gonna be getting David Noah on next this week or next week. And we're going to talk about that his question last night. I'm still trying to ponder on that one. So
Yeah, it's a great question. I could totally see how that could work, because I literally saw like a synapse in the brain when he said that. I was like, ooh, that makes sense on the micro and macro level.
well, I mean that would
Brilliant.
make sense to me. I mean
Yeah,
the brain, the
really.
universe, they all look the same.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
if anybody has anything to add on that, please send me an email too. What was the question exactly? Where I can't remember something. The Big Bang.
Oh, it was, do you think our universe is a bleed through from the Big Bang? And I was like, the light bursting out of source, creating thought and creating matter and planet. Yeah, that's totally, I could see that being.
So if anybody has any 2 cents on that and would like to join us, or just would like to send your information via email, I know everybody don't like to do shows, but if you'd like to share some information, email me, or
Yeah,
email me and join with the show. Like I said, I'm at least going to have him on at least by next week. So if I can't
right
work
on.
it out by this weekend.
I love
So,
David.
well, cool. Well, you got anything to add? We're going to wrap her up.
Just, I love you guys, and I'm so glad to be on this ride with you. And I can tell you what, it was such a lonely world until I found y'all. So every day, I'm so grateful for all of you. So,
Absolutely. And once
yeah.
again, Rebecca Glackenoff, thank you so much. And I don't know who ordered the shirts to make that donation. It don't tell me that information, but whoever ordered the shirts, thank you for the orders. Said it's going back into the channel, so we'll keep the programming coming. And all the new subscribers, welcome, welcome, welcome. And I hope you find
Welcome.
a good home here.
Yes, welcome.
And I'll be back here in a couple days, folks. Like I said, I'll get her worked out. So until then, be the frequency you want to receive, folks. Show everybody some unconditional love.
Yeah.
Y'all have a wonderful night.
Good night.